What is up, guys? Welcome, comrades, to the official TikTok roundtable with Mr. John Scott Won't Stop.
Audio's weird.
And what's up? Do you say something? No? Okay. And Tommy, my dude, we're going to be talking about the Georgia runoff, Biden's cabinet, politics in general, just everything under the sun. Probably take some questions. So, yeah, what up, guys? And I don't know. Let's get into it. What were we just talking about there? I can't even. Georgia runoff, I guess.
Yeah, and all the rumors going around on it. Like,
Right. Yeah, it doesn't.
this whole like in the middle of the night thing. Like, a lawyer would have a field day with that in court. It would go to Supreme Court. If Supreme Court wanted to like insert political bias and try to rule in something that's clearly not right, it'd go to the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court is not going to stand for even. I don't care who's on the Supreme Court. Like Justice Roberts is going to be like, no, integrity. Let's stop it.
Right. It doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to be true that they passed a law in the middle of the night. At least I can't find anything on it. But you know, with Georgia, Brian Kemp, if there's one shady person that was going to try and pull something like that, it would be him. But as far as it goes with the
Say my audio is messed up.
having to, yeah, they say you're super quiet.
Yeah, you kind of are.
Wasn't
Yeah, maybe get a little bit closer.
Well,
Wasn't there a?
AirPods.
I swear they tried to pass a law like that in Georgia already, where you had to have a car registered.
Hold on, let me just try my.
They passed
mic.
that is a law in New Hampshire, and when I was working on the Bernie campaign, we found that out that in New Hampshire, in order to vote, you have to have your car registered, which of course fucks up votes for Bernie because college kids, a lot of them are broke, they don't have a car, so you know it was kind of a shit deal for him. Can you guys hear John now, or no? Are you still working on it?
I can hear him.
Is that better? Like my screen is frozen right now, man.
Is it? I can
what's
see you
going
just
on
fine.
with my screen.
I can see you good.
That better?
He said, I see a ye. I'm guessing that means yes.
Tommy, say something.
I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Oh, what's going on with this?
But
Brian, you
yeah.
can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, better.
I don't know what's going on with this audio.
Yeah, but I don't think it seems like you can't really do any different. According to the Voting
I cannot
Rights
hear
Act,
anything.
you can't hear anything. You can't hear us.
Anything?
I can hear Tommy, but all my videos are frozen on screen right now, except for Tommy.
I can see you fine. Everything.
All right.
You, yeah, I can see you fine. I can hear you fine. Everything. But
Driven.
Yeah.
You're I got two frozen screens over here.
I don't know, man. I can see you fine. You look.
Let me fix this real quick.
I can. Yeah.
You can see him, right? All right. Denise says she can see you.
I'm gonna reopen this in Google Chrome.
Okay.
My computer.
It's on Twitch and YouTube if you guys are wondering.
Yeah, Twitch and YouTube, Driven Progressive. But yeah, as far as the Georgia voter thing, it doesn't. According,
it's like frozen right now, but I've been having.
No, you're not frozen on mine.
no, you're not frozen. I can see you fine,
Okay.
dude.
Well, then I'm not gonna worry about it.
I can see you fine, hear you fine.
Tim, I can see you, Tommy. You ain't shit.
You can't see me? Aw. I feel
Oh my
bad.
God, Tommy added me back. I'm like, he ain't shit.
I heard you gotten a little
Gotta
bit
keep
of
him humble.
a Omegle beef last night, by the way, Tommy.
Yeah.
No, like I have a screen off to the side that shows that I'm not. But it's the screens in the in our live feedback screen situation.
Okay, but you gotten a Omegle beef last night?
Yeah.
I can't hear Driven at all. I don't know if he like stepped off or what.
You gonna try leaving and coming back in, John?
You want to try logging out and coming back in?
I'm trying to get my damn
I can just send you the link again.
To open up my application so I can get into my Google Chrome. Oh, there it goes.
The Twitch is driven.
Hold on. I can't hear you now.
I can't hear Tommy now.
Sorry, I turned my mic off so I could tell.
Oh, okay.
where we were.
Okay. I was like, all right.
You know what I do like when you're doing your live streams on TikTok while you're on Omegle, how you'll talk to people and then you'll just stare at your live stream for a second and then go back.
Well, some of these people are fucking nuts.
Idiots,
so
man.
what happened exactly?
That girl last night when you're like, I was like, I got that chant going. Ask her just to find empathy, and she's like, I always get those two confused. I'm like, clearly. Like,
what happened last night?
Empathy, apathy.
Yeah, so what exactly? I mean, John sent me a short video. You guys just happened to pop up on each other's Omegle.
Yeah, he still refused to take my debate. He said, because I made a reference to spitting in his face a while ago, because he said he wanted mothers that or women that had abortion to die. Basically.
Who said that?
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, that was Tyler Blutman. So I made a thing where I was like hawking a loogie at the screen, and he took it that I was going to spit in his face, which I would. And he's like challenging me to come spit in my face. I'll be at the inauguration. I don't know why everyone thinks I'm going to be at the inauguration. I live on the other side of the country.
You think that's bad because I'm in Vancouver, right? So I have two.
Oh, now you're cut. Can you see him?
Like BC, I'm like no.
Now you're cutting out.
Yeah, now you're cutting out, homie.
You want to try and drop out and come back in?
Micro open right now. I don't know what happened. I think I just overloaded my memory in this computer. So see what happens here.
But yeah, no, he might be one of the worst on the app,
what
man. I swear. I made a.
What do we disagree on? What should you and I debate? What do we disagree on?
What do we disagree on?
I don't know. I honestly
do you like
don't.
pineapple on pizza?
Yes, I do, sir.
Oh my God!
Here we go.
What even are you? What kind of person are you?
You do not have a freaking flavor palette that can handle the complexities of a sweet and salty balance. And I take it one step further and I throw jalapenos on that bitch because sweet, salty, spicy combinations. It's just everything.
Yeah.
If you want to,
you're definitely in the cabal. You're definitely in the cabal.
Jesus Christ! You're part of the New World Order.
Yeah, 100%. So okay. Did you guys see Trump's sort of kind of?
It was like one of the things I had to do.
Here, did you guys see Trump's sort of kind of confession speech or concession speech?
Remember that? Me, you, George Soros, paying us. Wanted us to run in.
Did you guys see?
Like, no, we'll be members, but we're not going to run.
Kind of concession text.
Did you guys see the Trump's kind of concession speech?
The one on Twitter?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up here real quick. I said, did you see Trump's concession speech?
Or sort of like that.
sort of kind of concession speech.
I think Melania wrote it. She's like, I really want this to be over and to be done with this asshole.
Right. This is what he had to say.
Renegotiated their prenuptial agreement. She wasn't going to come into DC until he agreed to it.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Like, she was smart. She was like, get money.
Here's what he had. Here's what he had to say about the transition. I want to thank Emily Murphy at the GSA for her steadfast dedication and loyalty to our country. She has been harassed, threatened, abused, and I do not want to see this happen to her, her family, or employees of the GSA. Our case strongly continues, and we will keep up the good fight, and I believe we will prevail.
Hold on 1 second.
Nevertheless, in the best interest of our country, I am recommending that Emily and her team do what needs to be done with regard to initial protocols, and have told my team to do the same. So he's basically saying, I didn't lose, but I'm letting them start the transition anyway.
I didn't lose, but I lost.
Yeah, I think that's the closest thing we're going to get to a concession speech.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Basically, I mean, there's nothing else for him to do. All the lawsuits today in Pennsylvania backfired.
Come on, man.
Michigan certified 3-0. The one guy abstained. So, I mean, it's pretty much over with.
Hold on, I'm gonna close out of this and I'm opening up a new one right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me know if you need me to send you the link again or whatever.
yeah,
but
it's done. Like people are obviously worried because the idea if Trump's of what it means if Trump steals this election, but there's just no way.
yeah, there's just nothing. I mean, maybe if he was a little more competent, I don't think people should be worried about him stealing it. What I think people should be worried about and why we should take this more seriously is because this doesn't need to become the norm. Like, I fully see, because of the way Democrats are handling this, I fully see them just becoming the norm. If a Republican loses an election, they're just going to fight it tooth and nail like this every single time. Because, I mean, there's really no pushback from the Democrats except saying, like, oh, how dare they?
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of see happening. Let's see.
I mean, I think the sad part is that the Democrats didn't have the support they needed to get a new voting rights passed. I think that's the problem.
Right.
When it was looking like they were going to pick up a bunch of seats, Susan Collins looked like she had a shot to lose. They just didn't pick anything up.
Oh, I know, man. I was really, really depressed with the Senate. How we just really, I mean, we had a perfect shot to pick up, a 52-48 advantage. Because now, even if we win both the Senate seats in Georgia, you still have Joe Manchin in the Democratic Party. I mean, the senator from West Virginia, and he's basically a Republican.
Yeah.
So he's not going to go along with any progressive ideas. So it's going to be a tough road as far as getting real deal House, Senate, presidential legislation passed, even if we win both.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's going to be a fight, and that's I mean, yeah, that's just the world we're going to live in.
Yeah. I mean, I think this would have been the perfect election, especially now when it looks like someone could potentially has the possibility to steal the election. You know what I mean?
But the other thing is not. I don't think, like, a lot of Republicans are coming around and saying that Trump needs to concede. But this story came out today, and I think the reason they might be doing it is because the donor class in the Republican Party is saying, hey, Trump needs to concede or we're not going to give you guys any fucking money, basically, is what's going on.
Yeah.
I think it's because they can't strategize to counter anything that Biden's going to do, as long as, like, they don't get to really know what Biden's going to do for them to.
This is what the headline says. It says, fed up GOP donors may withhold money from Georgia Senate races if party doesn't make Trump concede. So they've been trying to play this. They've been trying to play this angle of keeping this election thing like a possibility, because the Trump base is the Republican Party. So they want them to vote in the Georgia election. So they're trying to keep this fucking pipe dream of Trump overturning it alive. But now it's starting to backfire because the donor class is like, you guys are making us look like fucking idiots, putting people like Sidney Powell out here with her fucking Hugo Chavez conspiracies.
Yeah,
and making us look even worse than we are.
Yeah, Rudy's backed off of the Sidney Powell thing too.
Yeah. Well, they kind of had to. She was going after Brian Kemp as, like, a lefty conspirator who's, like, the most staunch Trump guy in all of the Republican Party, really.
I got to think, though, if I'm the Republicans looking at the way that this electorate broke down, right, it doesn't look good. All in all, it doesn't look good.
Especially on the issues.
Right. I think if you had someone that was, like, mildly progressive, right, someone that was working class, anti-establishment type, they would do it would be over for the Republicans, because the fact is, if you look at the Midwest where these people are there, they don't give a fuck about, whatever. They're in largely homogeneous societies, right? It's all white people. They care about the economy. Mm-hmm. So the question is, who are we going to have to come out in the next 4 years that's going to make these people go, yeah, this person's definitely better on the economy? Because that's what it's going to come down to. And if the Democrats can find that, it's over for the Republicans. My
I think
opinions on that.
I think the most progressive person that has a shot is Andrew Yang. And I don't totally agree with Andrew Yang on a lot of things. Like I'm not a big fan of his brand of UBI, and I didn't really like his form of Medicare for all because it wasn't really Medicare for all. But he's by far the most progressive person that has a shot. And I would take UBI over the current situation, which is get fucked.
Yeah.
Basically. Oh, you're
Good luck.
to work harder. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not
Uh,
a fan of the UBI. I'm more of like I want to see a social safety net.
right.
It's hard because like people like Pete Buttigieg can't win. You want to lose a Democratic nomination
Right.
with Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, he's the past.
Maybe Tulsi.
She's like gone this weird right wing like she pushed Project Veritas conspiracies. She worked with fucking PragerU. Like I
Yeah,
don't know what she's doing. Like I was a big fan of Tulsi, but maybe she'll snap out of it.
I
Maybe
think
she was
she's
just
like
bored. But
I don't know either, right? Because she did that thing where she's like, I'm not going to vote to impeach Trump.
right,
So part
yeah.
of me is like, part of me is like, she wants to be a progressive. The other part of me is she
She's
really
playing both sides.
likes falling back on her parents' beliefs, and that's why I'm kind of like,
She
I don't
tries to I've seen her do this and she'll go on like right-wing publications like Dave Rubin and she'll sign her name to bullshit theories about progressives, just like stuff that like the left just wants you to be completely in line with them on everything, otherwise they reject you. She buys into stuff like that when she's on right wing media. I've seen her do it a couple times, and it's like you need to push back against that because it is horseshit. Uh, yeah, but she's so good on a lot of things, and I really liked how she stood up for Bernie in 2016. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with Tulsi. If 4 years is a long fucking time.
I hope she grows out of whatever the hell she's doing.
Do you think the next like 4 years are going to go by slower than these last 4 years did? Because if you think about it, when like everything is so chaotic, so much is happening, time flies, and we're not going to have someone throwing a
It was a slow
tantrum every day.
4 years. It was a slow 4 years.
I felt it went
Right.
by fast.
I don't know. I feel like as I get older, every year goes by faster. That's just me. I don't know. But I feel like we had about 10 years worth of events in this 1 year. So maybe that made it go by faster because I don't know. It seems like Tiger King was like a big thing like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But
I avoided Tiger King for as long as I could. And then I started watching it and I was like, oh God.
I loved it. I watched it the first night it came out just on accident. I was like up at night in my apartment and just started watching it, and I watched the whole thing. And like the next week, it's like everyone's like, "Fucking Tiger King is awesome." Like I saw it first.
I wasn't being like that. I'm too cool for it. I wasn't that. I was just like every time I would see the thumbnail for it or a little preview, I'm like, I do not have the energy to deal with those kind of people on my screen for that long. Like I had no like want. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm one of those people that can look away from a train wreck.
Right. Hey, speaking of this is something I've wanted, and I feel like we're coming to an end when it comes to just talking about Trump all the time, because I feel like us as like lefty like TikTokers have just had to talk about Trump and election fraud and right-wing propaganda for so fucking long, and that's all we've talked about. I'm really like looking forward to like attacking things from like a lefty perspective and like giving critiques again on like policy and media. And I think this is an interesting place to start. There was a whistleblower for MSNBC that came out, and this is what she had to say, talking about Andrew Yang. I actually just reviewed my journal on 4/25/19. I was told that we were never to pursue Andrew for an interview on our show, along with several others. The list of candidates was dictated, but the reason for allowing them or not was not explained. So basically, she's saying that we blackballed Andrew Yang during the primary, along with several other candidates. And I think,
like,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, right now, a lot of the Democrats are blaming the progressives, and AOC like said it perfectly. The one market they did not tap was online, and
Right.
that's how AOC has gotten most of her, like, not most of her support, because she did a lot of, like, on the ground work, but like she knows how to be a presence online. Trump is successful amongst his cult because of his presence online, and none of them have any kind of presence online. So like I think with social media we actually have the opportunity to be like, okay, news, calm down, like we can spread the information faster. Like,
Well, and I think that's a good point, because, and that's one of the reasons I started making content, is because the reason why the left lost in the primary, the actual left, is because they had better media than us. Like, people on the left still, for the most part, trust the establishment media, and they kind of just follow along with the narratives that they put out. And and that was very much, Bernie's fans are toxic, and that was the only time they talk about him. And
well,
Andrew Yang doesn't exist.
what's crazy about it, coming from like my background in English, is the language that is used now in the news. I was actually sending some articles about the 1994 crime bill and stuff like that to Tommy last night, and they were like articles from 1994. The language used then versus the language used now, they have a way of making opinions sound like fact. They present opinions as fact.
Mm-hmm.
All news does it. So, and I think when you take away access to education with people, it's easier to confuse them and make them believe what you want them to believe. And I feel like it's such a cycle. We need to get all these old ass people out of Congress. Sorry, like I'm on my way to being old myself, and like I've already come to the conclusion, anything we do now, I'm not going to benefit from. I'm just trying to make sure like the generation after me has like a decent shot. Like,
well, Dianne Feinstein actually stepped down today as head of the Judiciary Committee. Yeah, Judiciary Committee. So I mean, we need to have. You're right though. We need young blood. We need more. We just need more people. Like, even like everybody's just like, oh well, what bills did they pass? Like, oh, there he goes. It's like that's not all it is. It's also using your platform. Like AOC just presenting the Green New Deal and getting it out in the public, like that matters a lot. Like her speaking on the floor of Congress, talking about corruption and this and that helps. It gets it out to the masses. Like, them using their platform makes a huge difference, and that's why we just need more. We need more voices talking about it and exposing new ideas to people, as opposed to just what MSNBC and CNN say. Oh, we have to all vote for Biden because they're the only one that he won't call a socialist. When that's all
what's
they
funny
did
is the right thinks that we're so obsessed with Biden, and we're not. There's a TikTok going around. I'm probably going to duet it later, but it's this girl where her friends like, or she plays both roles, and she's like, yeah, I voted for Biden, and then she high fives herself, and then like it clips back to, I also voted for him in the primaries, and she smacks her. Like, it's like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
But I think like everyone, this could be like, I guess, conspiracy related, whatever, but I think that Twitter is gonna yeet Trump after all this, because
I think
they've
so.
wrestled with it for a while. And I think that when he's gone, I feel like there will be more room for people to be more present online and use online as a platform to get their messages out, because he's such a distraction online. Like, I don't follow him on anything, so I'm not going to give him that number, but I do go check his shit. Like, it's in my search bar to like see what the hell is he up to. Usually, like when I know he's about to throw a tantrum, I'm like, popcorn, like sit back and watch the shit show happen. But like,
dude, he tweets like 250 times some days. Like, how do you do it? Like
I think he was tweeting like 4 tweets per minute, like 7 months ago or something like that. I don't remember when it was over, but he was
all full of grammatical errors.
And that's probably why Twitter is his favorite platform too, because it's so limited and his thought process is so limited. He can like fit each thought. Mm-hmm. Like most of us are like, hold on, this is going to be a.
Yeah, no, it's I won't lie. I follow him on Twitter. I can't help myself. It's The chaos. I like looking at train wrecks. What can I say?
I cannot wait until they block him.
It's gonna be.
I think they will.
I'm really hoping
they're gonna.
they wait like 5 days after the inauguration so we can just watch this meltdown happen. That, and he'll probably like give away secrets he thinks he can still give away, and then really get himself in trouble. But like,
yeah, I agree. I want to see a meltdown before they ban him. I think they're
I
gonna be
want
like
him to tell us if aliens are real.
I think the moment he's gonna run in 2024, they're cutting him. Like, nope, you're done.
There's like everyone keeps asking if he's going to. There's no way. There's no way. Like, I get that Biden is
I wouldn't be
roughly
so
about 4
sure
years
about
older
that.
than him. Well, Biden's like what, 4 years older than him, roughly around there. So, already people are like, Biden's too old. Biden runs like 2 miles a day. He like, that cardiovascular workout is also good for brain function. Like, Trump is extremely unhealthy, has heart disease. Like, 4 years from now, I mean, he'll be lucky to even be alive, especially with how angry he gets and blood pressure's high.
What's up?
Did you see me on live earlier? I asked this Trump supporter why Trump looks like he's walking with a walker, but without the walker all the time.
He looks like a penguin when he's like he does like that lean forward.
Like the penguin for sure.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a ghost walker.
Right. But he's the odds-on favorite right now to run in 2024. But even if he doesn't, he's gonna milk it until the very last minute. Like he loves the spotlight, and that's why like he will not be president anymore. But he's not going away. Even if they ban him off Twitter, like he's just such a presence, such a force. Like he'll be around forever.
I honestly, I kind of get the feeling that they have dirt against him. It's kind of what I'm thinking. And I'd say he'd give away state secrets, but honestly, he can't even remember his fucking briefings, so that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, they had to use like pictures and graphs.
Yeah,
like this is the economy. Like they don't. He hasn't gone to a coronavirus briefing in 6 months. And it's the most important thing, going on in the country. And I mean, for most of us, apparently golf is also important.
Golf important.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I thought this was pretty funny. They're even after tonight, after the election was basically certified, this was his lawyer on TV. Oh, no.
The Lynx aren't going to golf themselves, Mantis. No. Hey, Mantis. I see you.
So even after Pennsylvania's about to certify, Michigan has certified, Georgia's certified and done a recount. Wisconsin's basically over.
Are they doing a third recount in Georgia?
She's still on there saying they stole the election and Trump's going to win in a landslide. That's still the narrative that they're pushing out.
It's ridiculous.
It just fucking blows my mind.
Somebody just said Giuliani wears Hagrid shoes, and now I really want to.
Did I not? Oh,
fuck. Giuliani's shoes.
He also sweats motor oil. Does Giuliani really have like clown feet?
I mean, I'm sure. That's how he rolls. I didn't turn the goddamn thing on. Whatever.
By the way, just everyone listening, I'm going to tell you guys right now, because I'm a professional hairstylist. That is spray on color. It has the same consistency as hairspray.
We brought in an expert, folks.
The amount of sweat and body heat it takes to melt that down so it would start leaking across his face. Like, he's got to have a fever. And he's in there, like, wiping his nose and then turning it inside out and, like, then rubbing it all over his face. Oh, God. He is... everybody involved in that campaign is just disgusting, man.
The craziest thing is he's the highest paid lawyer in all of Washington, D.C.
And he's winning like 5% of his cases, if that.
Not even. They're like, 1 for 35 like now.
3% or something.
He's 1 for 35 because one of the cases got overturned. Do you guys want to hear this is a new conspiracy that's going to be pushed around. Just FYI, this is the next one we're gonna have to debunk. It's apparently Antifa that won the election.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was at that meeting.
Out just infiltrating Antifa. I was out just infiltrating Antifa. I mean, I'll just tell you, I just used, I run a tech company. Obviously, I'm right of center. I'm a constitutional and conservative Christian. I wanted to know what we were really dealing with. So I got on this call, and in this call, you hear all this fascist, all this stuff that's kind of going on and going back and forth. It's like a swirling of rhetoric. It's unbelievable how they speak to each other, by the way, right? it's I don't think that they even understand how much they sound like Chicken Little. And so I listened for a while, and then somebody named Eric came on and started talking. And so he's talking about what they need to do next. And you need to make sure that you hold on to, fortify, and that we need to, add constant pressure and so on and so forth. And so as he starts to talk, someone says, "Who's Eric?" And then someone answers, Eric is the Dominion guy. So obviously I'm taking notes, right? And I'm a copious note taker.
He's taking
so
notes,
I took these
folks.
notes, and I had Eric, Dominion, and then we're in Denver, Colorado, because they were talking about Denver. They're talking about Colorado Springs. And so, but I wasn't really focused on him. And so then Eric responds, keeps speaking, and then someone interrupts and says, "What are we going to do if effing Trump wins?" And he responds with, and I'm going to paraphrase this because obviously I didn't write exactly what he wrote, right?
Or he's completely
don't worry
making it
about the
up.
election. Trump is not going to win.
Hey, I was taking
effing
notes.
sure of
I was
that.
just writing
Ha, ha, ha.
other stuff.
Right? And everyone, and then somebody responded, effing right? So
Yeah, so basically, the guy who runs Dominion voting system is Antifa, and he's going to steal the election. This guy, Eric Comer, basically, is who they're talking about.
What's his? I can already tell you by body language he was lying, but
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
The
he's in
capital
this.
this
He's in this Antifa
this
phone
thing
call,
here-
and he doesn't write anything down or screenshot or voice record, nothing. They fucking spill all the goods, yet we have to trust this guy's handwritten notes.
I like how he's
Get the fuck outta
infiltrating
here.
a
someone does
non-centralized group.
someone does this, they're lying immediately.
Right. I've seen
If
Tyler
they're trying to
Plutman do
remember
that a few
something, I think
times.
it's looking up to the left. Usually how
Right,
they're
I've
lying.
heard that.
They're looking around, they're trying to remember something. Yeah.
But that's the one. That's the one that started tonight. That and Sidney Powell got fired from the Trump team because they wanted her. Trump wanted to distance her so she could have more room to unleash the Kraken or whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah, her information that never took off.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
All of a sudden, we don't know her. Okay.
she
Right.
has all. We don't need her help. That changed real quick from she's going to be our savior to we don't know her.
Like,
Right.
they're so senile. Like, I don't know if it's that just that whole team thinks that everything works the way they think it works. Like, I don't know. Like, we see you. Like, there's a lot of record of it. Like, we see everything you've said and done. Like, there's video evidence. And they're like, nothing to see here. You're like, no, that's not how it works.
It's all a ploy just to get money for the campaign. Like, it's all just a campaign funding ploy. Like, they're sending. I seen Bosch did a video about it. He got like 14 emails from the Trump campaign in one day talking about we need money so they don't steal the election. The Democrats are trying to steal the election. But when they're going into court, they're saying, like, Giuliani said in Pennsylvania, this isn't a fraud case. Like, they're admitting in court, like, hey, we don't have any evidence of fraud. And they're still getting these court cases thrown out. But then they're going out to the public and saying, this is fraud. We have clear evidence of fraud. We have all these affidavits. Like, it's just horseshit. It's total debunked propaganda, horseshit. But you still have millions and millions of people that believe it, right? A poll just done, and I've seen several polls like this. A poll just done says a mere 3% of voters that voted for President Donald Trump think President-elect Joe Biden won the 2020 election, while 73% think the incumbent was the victor, according to a CNBC research poll. 3% of people that voted Republican or voted for Trump think Joe Biden won. That's
I thought like
bananas.
30% had come along. I don't know where I heard that number.
I think
Fake
I don't
news.
know.
They
There's
don't
you
like
know
this election. They're not going to like future ones either, because it gets exponentially harder for Republicans to lose or to win.
right.
That's the reality. It's going to
Well,
get
and
exponentially harder with demographic changes in the United States.
Right.
They're
Well,
making
then-
themselves look a lot worse too. It's like, come on, guys. Like, I don't know. Okay, so you're gonna tell me that you guys love Donald Trump because he's such a good businessman, but he ran out of money during his own campaign? Like, sounds like
I
he
don't
wasn't spending it properly.
Right.
That's
Yeah, and he had a
Super Bowl,
huge money advantage. A huge money advantage. He, I think it was like $1.6 billion he raised. I mean, he's been fundraising since he
saw,
won the
like-
first time.
I was seeing
He's been
ads.
campaigning since he won.
Right. There's been ads.
He still lost.
Exactly. There's been ads out.
Yeah.
There were ads about him being president, winning the next election or whatever. Do you support our president? Like a month after he won or was inaugurated.
Mhm.
They've been
Yeah.
running it for 4 years. The idea
Yeah,
that
he's the first person to ever register for the next campaign the day after the inauguration.
That guy is
You
a
know.
nut job, man.
Like he broke all the wrong records. You know what I mean?
All the wrong records. But hey, at least he got himself some records. That's what he
Right.
wanted, I guess. I don't know. He feels like that validates him. Did you get that link I sent you on
Who,
Twitter?
me or him?
Yeah, you. Tim.
I don't know. Let's see.
I sent you a link on it literally goes over every lawsuit. I think it was
Yeah.
posted like 5 hours
Yeah, I see
ago.
it.
I pulled a muscle in my eye today because I was rolling it so much. I was like,
Yeah, I read a piece the Times did like a week ago, and they went over them, and they're like, "Look, even if he wins all these, like he still doesn't win because they're all horseshit, and they're over like 62 votes here, 105 votes over here, 73 votes over. You know what I mean? It's total
if I'm the Biden
horseshit.
campaign, I'm like, sure, whatever, take the votes. Like, just get these over with. We're not going to contest it. Just get rid of it.
right. I mean, you
Like
see
it-
now, even when they're admitting the transition team, they still got lawyers on TV arguing like, we won in a landslide. It's like, dude, you just started the transition of powers. Make it make sense. I don't know.
I think what it's like, I
Alternative
don't know,
flags.
kind of getting to me is I'm seeing so many people on the left that like voted for Biden against Trump. They're panicking and they're panic tagging. They're panic tagging. They're tagging me.
Right.
They're tagging you. They're tagging Tommy. They're tagging like the names I come up with, like the grouping I'm in. I'm like, do you guys even watch our videos? Like, I mean, I see you're tagging my dude. I know you've seen his content.
Right.
Like you follow him. He posts like 8 times a day. And you're
Yeah, I've been
asking me
getting
about
like
something
50
that-
messages a day about, should be
Oh, my
we worried
DMs are
about this
closed,
and
man.
that.
Yeah.
I close my DMs to it's only open to mutuals. Like if y'all want to message me, you got to do it on Instagram.
Oh, I have it closed on TikTok because the Q people kept fucking, saying all kinds of crazy shit, but I have them open on Instagram and Twitter, so I get
don't
messages
do that
over
on
there.
Twitter. I like to go fuck with Donnie too much. Like I
Right.
go in there and well, that's not how it works, Donald. That's not Donald. But you said that. Look, this is. I'll retweet his own tweet back to him.
Right. It's not
I
how
leave it up for
anything
like an
works.
hour, then I have to take it down because I'm just getting swarmed. I'm over
Do
it.
you guys see Ted the big thing about Thanksgiving? They're like the left hates Thanksgiving. They're trying to take Thanksgiving away from us. That's the new thing.
Well, no, have you seen that? And I mean, it's insensitive, but it's like on the head where Tommy's apparently tired because he spends all night and early morning hours on Omegle hunting down Trumpers. But
Is it Omegle
no,
or
there's like
Omegle?
someone's like, well, it was a tweet. And they said, wow, a virus killing off most of the population in America. I don't think we've ever had a more accurate Thanksgiving. It's like,
That's fucked. But it's
it's
on,
odd, but
on
it's
point.
true. Like,
Right. But here's this is what Charlie Kirk had to say about the left and Thanksgiving.
hold on, before you play that, it
Okay.
looks like his facial features are all like trying to get away from like the perimeter of his face.
Exactly.
Like he looks like he has the permanent small
Like
face
it-
filter
it's-
on.
Yeah, it's like
Well, I mean,
And He just woke up. Look at his hair. He just woke up. Come on now.
The left has always hated Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Thanksgiving can be interpreted as a religious holiday if you believe in giving thanks to a creator. But they hate Thanksgiving because they believe there is nothing you should be thankful for in America. This is an awful place. It is cancerous, rotten to the core. Tear it all down. Burn it from within. Why would you be thankful? Instead, we need a revolution. Remember,
Read your notes.
as the Students for a Democratic Society radicals once wrote in the 1960s, they said, conflict is the origin of everything. What happens when you're thankful? By definition, you're less likely to be involved and engaged in conflict. Thanksgiving is supposed to de-escalate any sort of pre-existing issues in our country.
Fucking Stretch
Neither
Armstrong,
using the
man.
virus as an excuse.
Why does he look like he's at a basketball game?
Great.
He looks like he just woke up after taking a nap before going to the basketball game. Like,
It looks like
okay,
he
so the
didn't
only
believe
reason
what
why
he
anyone's
said.
going to reject Thanksgiving, we're not celebrating Thanksgiving anymore in my house. And the reason why we're not celebrating it anymore is because of what it like represented. It's not about not being thankful. Like, I can say what I'm thankful for on New Year's Eve. Like, I can, at the end of the year, once everything has happened, I can, on my calendar year, I can be like, hey, I'm thankful for this. Like, it's just what it represents. It's not what we were fed. And like, I think what's funny is all these people on here are like, oh, you guys are like the ones that are believing the propaganda. It's like, we're seeking truth. You're seeking to confirm your bias. We're seeking truth. So those of us that are seeking truth, like I'll still make all the food for Thanksgiving, but I'm gonna do it on Wednesday because that's just when all that food is available at the grocery store, and I make a bomb ass turkey. But still, like, yeah, I'm not like, what do I have to be thankful for right now in this country? The fact that we have like such like high racial tensions and division and people wanting to start a civil war against people they think are unarmed. And like, we have a president that's spitting out hateful rhetoric. Like, you two guys, like, when you're like, oh, I can't wait to go back to not talking about Trump. People in marginalized communities like the gay community or women or like people of color, we have to go find all those little assholes that like, left our little like communities to go support someone that was against our. I have to go find all the other gay people and be like, all right, let's deprogram you. I don't know what fucking shit they were selling you, but let's fix it.
Well, deprogramming definitely has to happen, but I just on like a daily, all the time, like Trump has so consumed the news cycle because everything reverts back to him that you can't even talk about Medicare for all and why it's beneficial because you got to talk about the 18 false stories that Trump put out that day. You know what I mean? If he's not president anymore, you have room to,
I'm at that point
navigate
where like people start like my in-laws are like Republicans, and when they like even bring something up, I'm like, no, and they like try to go into it. I'm like, no, we're not, no, like we're not talking about that anymore. Like,
dude,
not all of them, but like the outskirts of the Republic of my in-laws. I'm like, no, like that's like they want to like go into detail about all this stuff, and I'm like, well, actually, this. They're like, oh, I don't trust anonymous sources. I'm like, well, you're citing QAnon, which stands for Q Anonymous. Like, so
Yeah.
do you or don't you? Which are you lying now or are you lying then? Either way, you're a liar,
Right.
and nothing you have to say is valid. And like, I think that like my new approach when people, because I Uber everywhere right now because my Jeep got totaled, not totaled, but it's just not drivable at the moment. When I do have like a right-wing driver and they start, I'm like, no, no. Like, every time they try to bring something up, I just say no. And they can argue with it, but I'm still going to say no. Like, every response I'm going to have to a person like that is going to be no. I'm like done entertaining them. My focus right now is like, hey, these are the benefits from these different policies that could be put into place, or what we should be asking to be put in place right now and demanding from, the people that are supposed to be representing us, not representing themselves and like corporate America. Because right now, like, people think Republicans are for them. They're not. People think that the Democrats are for them. They're not. Democrats are just smart enough to know that if they play to their base and do some of the things that they want, then, they'll keep people on their side. But all of them are being paid like for.
Well, it's all the media and propaganda they consume. Like, most of the people I grew up with, like friends and even like their family and stuff, people I'm still friends with on Facebook, like they're all hardcore Trump people, and it's
weird.
like the propaganda that they find, like they actually think Joe Biden's like a socialist and is gonna like put the Antifa leader as Secretary of State. Like they have this in their head that that's how it's gonna work.
My favorite question to people that are, oh, communism. I'm like, just define it. It's when the government owns everything. That's literally the opposite. It's when the public owns everything. But okay.
Right.
What's socialism? Oh, that's communism light. We just established you don't know what communism is. So, like,
yeah, I've done that dance before. Yeah.
I had a guy. I swear to God, he had I think he had 20,000 followers or something. He's in his 50s, clearly. And he came on my video after I thrashed him, and he was like, "Your BLMs are Marxist." And I was like, "What is Marxist? What does that mean?"
What's Marxism?
He had no fucking clue. He spent, 50 years of his life hating something he couldn't even define?
Right.
Jesus Christ. This is the level of crazy.
It's very surface level, everything. Usually I find, like, they it's just like they've memorized like 15 buzzwords, and that's kind of their whole ideology. Like, if you literally go like one, at the most two questions deep, like they fall off a cliff with like knowledge of the topic for the most part. I mean, you have some that are really, traunched in there and listen to people like Charlie Kirk every day and can go a little bit further in detail. But I mean, it's they don't. I made a video about that Charlie Kirk thing, and I was like, the reason they push stuff like this is because they have bad ideas. And in order to cover up for those bad ideas, they have to scare you with this shit and make you think that the left is going to, take your mom's job away and, like, force you into the gulag if you want to own guns, just crazy shit. Because they don't have plans for healthcare or college, or, they don't have plans or good ideas for anything. So they have to just push this culture war bullshit, and it's all they have.
That's all they have.
Right.
It's like
just
last night.
It's this way, or it's
lives.
extermination.
Mm-hmm. What? Huh?
Yeah, say that again.
I didn't hear what either one of y'all said.
Oh, John, you want to go first?
Oh, I was just saying, in Tommy's live last night, he was, because he's been on the hunt for Trumpers to drag across Omegle. He was talking to one, and I got this chant going. I was like, ask her to define empathy. Like, if you look at the left versus the right only cares about things that personally affect them, just as an individual. So collectively, there are a bunch of individuals. On the left, we're collectively trying to, like, help everybody. They're trying to help themselves. And so when you ask them to define empathy, they're like, what she said was, I always get sympathy and empathy confused. That's because you only care about shit that affects you. Like, and then it's like, now define apathy.
I think
Ben Shapiro actually said that, though, like a couple of months ago. He said, empathy is not a good way to talk about policy. It's like, what? Like, that.
He also thinks that when, like, sea levels rise, you can sell your house on the beach.
Right. Who's going to buy it, Ben?
He'll never live that down with me. I'll bring that up every single time because y'all know me. I'm King Petty. I don't care.
Ben Shapiro thinks that a government healthcare system is fascist because it's forcing you to provide medical service to someone. That's literally what he thinks. He thinks that socialized medicine is.
I would love to debate that shit out.
Hypothetically speaking,
I would drag him under the boat with that.
Here's my thing. Like, okay, so you guys don't want to pay a little bit extra in taxes, save even more money in the special tax, which is your private insurance that you normally pay. So, like, you save a lot more money that way. And all because you don't want to take care of someone that either A, can't take care of themselves, or, as you believe, won't take care of themselves. Yet these private insurances, like, you're paying mostly for their profit, which they're lining the pockets of Congress with, and Congress is telling you they are the only way to go. So Congress is getting you to pay for Congress because they don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
Like, exactly what you're trying to avoid universal health care for, because you don't want to, like, pay for other people. You're paying for Congress. Like, if there's no profit in healthcare
anyway right now,
and they can't make money off of it, then you're actually benefiting more from it than, like, Republicans don't. None of us benefit from private health.
I think the biggest thing with, like, conservative talking points is, like, I'm a progressive, so I like to study policy, right? What is the policy? I'm not super big on theory. What is the policy and betterment of human condition? And it's so easy for Republicans just to buzzword scare people with, oh, socialized medicine is communism. And then they're just,
That's
it's all
it.
rational thought out the window. They do that all the time. They turn it into, people don't want to know the process. They just want an answer.
33
am I
developed
supposed
countries were the only one without it.
What's that?
Out of 33 developed countries, we're the only one without it.
Exactly.
Well, that and there's been plenty of studies that show that Medicare for All could save money because a lot of our costs come from administrative costs, and you would eliminate a lot of that if you had, a single payer. And people talk about like, oh, you'd have to cut the rates of doctors and stuff. It's like, well, they're a little saturated right now. I mean, and just Medicare for All, even if you did have to pay a little bit more, you would get so much in return that it would
Like mental
be
health care services.
it would be
all these Trumpers can stop being fucking
the best
crazy.
thing we could do. Like the fact that we're the richest country on earth and we have the 33rd best healthcare system is insane. We spend twice as much and get half the results. Like we spend the most money on healthcare. We just get way worse results because a lot of it's administrative costs.
I keep trying to connect it back to like they don't want to spend that much money in taxes. Okay, well when you have like universal healthcare, mental healthcare is included in that. So when I was in college, there was a lot of students there that were from out of the country, and a friend of mine that was from Australia that also lived in Thailand for a while because Americans are very central to where they're from. She was telling me, she's like, yeah, this homeless person was asking me for money on the street. I gave him $100 because I could, but she comes from money. She's like, I gave him $100 because I could, but like you don't see that where I'm from. And I'm like, are you down? Like I would think there'd be some help. She's like, not the way you guys have it here. We have universal health care. Like the mental health services alone will take care of most of that. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And it also prevents a lot of crime. Like I've gone over this on my own TikTok channel. It prevents a lot of crime when like you have the private health insurance companies and private prisons working in tandem to grow a profit, to line the pockets of Congress, to tell you that you need private health insurance and to tighten up laws so more people go into jail. Whether you go to jail or not, your taxes are paying for those private prisons. Like if mental health care can prevent people from going into prison,
right?
You would save money in taxes. I noticed with hold on real quick. I noticed with the Republicans though, they're like spend less now, worry about it later, rather than spend a little bit more now to save a hell of a lot more money later. Because I don't know, they always talk about great businessmen, but they don't understand the benefit of an investment. Like it's like
yeah. Here's the thing, right? Like this is bizarre to me. The idea that there's this big pushback against safe injection sites, right? Like that's because it's something that's always flabbergasted me. It's like you guys are completely fucking silent when the United States pays like I don't know FARC in Colombia, right? Or pays a right-wing extremist group to develop a coup and kill tens of thousands of people in South America or whatever. But we're trying to stop the spread of HIV and AIDS, and that's a fucking no-go for them. I don't understand the logic, right? The misplaced anger at society. We're not mad when we go and bomb countries or kill people unjustly in Libya or whatever. We're mad that there are safe injection sites so that we can stop the spread of deadly diseases. That's what we're pissed about.
Yeah, like if it's not personally affecting them, so they don't care.
If we just got out of Iraq and Afghanistan, the money we would save from just that would cover universal childcare and universal college.
We don't even have to.
And I think there'd be some left over actually. But I think there's one other thing I'm missing. But at least those two.
If we didn't have to pull people, we could just divert funds and still have enough for what they are okay with.
The fun part about it, right? Does anyone know what childcare costs a year? I'm trying to throw this one into the mix. Like universal childcare, isn't that like $200 billion or something a year?
Is it crazy? No, it's like 40 billion or something.
Is
40,
it really? Okay? If that's all it is. So let me get this straight. For $90 billion, you can have all of universities free, right? For 40 billion, you can have universal health care, right? If we just got rid of the 2014 Omnibus tax breaks, right? Just that, we could pay for those 9 times over every single year.
Well, it's like healthcare. Like, so I was like doing some numbers last night, and I was looking at healthcare, right? So say if we all paid $25 per person into taxes, right? So you're a family of 5. Between you and your spouse, you pay $25 per person. It's $125 a month every month for like a year, right? After 11 years, the population in our country, if we paid $25 per person, which is a lot less than people are paying for private insurance now, just as an individual, let alone for a family of 5, we would, after 11 years, we'd have over $1 trillion like put into, like you get 99 billion from just 1 year of people spending $125 a month on healthcare. If you raise the minimum wage to $13.50, that people are still left with like an extra $1,000 a month to spend freely after an average rent. Like there's so many ways we can spend so much less money and have so much more money for other places where it's needed. And you just take profit out of everything and we're fine. Like
I think too, the big problem is the thing we don't get anything back for the things that we fund with our public dollars, like the internet, right? We've never got paid for that. We developed it with tax dollars, right? Most prescription drugs were developed with federal funds.
Yeah, we pay the most for them.
Vaccines, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, you don't see any of it. You don't see any return on it.
They privatize the gain and subsidize the losses with public money.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and and that's you see these. I play stocks a little bit, and I look at these financial reports for these healthcare companies. I've been trading stocks for like 6 years, and the fucking gains these healthcare companies that they make year over year over year is just insane. I mean, it's billions and billions of dollars, but yet they they back up anytime you talk about lowering prescription drug prices. It's all about making those extra dollars for shareholders. Like they want a profit every single quarter. They want more profit this quarter than they got last quarter, and that's just it. Otherwise the stock drops, and that's just how it is, and they continue to do that. Katie Porter actually, she did a thing where she wrote on a whiteboard to this one of the healthcare CEOs, and she showed that the drug didn't get better, they didn't do any more research, yet he made $500,000 more in 2019 as opposed to 2018 just because they raised the price of this cancer drug. So nothing changed, but he made $500,000 more just because they raised the price. And it's horse shit like that where we need much more regulation. And another thing is there's $7 trillion. We got to do something about like tax havens. Like, everybody in our country, the Amazons, the Netflix, all those big companies shipping money overseas into these tax havens, because there's like $7 trillion untaxed, never touched, that's sitting out in these tax havens from over here because,
which is absolutely
loopholes.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. Like, okay, so like the net earnings for private healthcare industry or private health insurance industry was $23.4 billion. And the profit, the amount of profit that is in that, in the net earnings, like that money could be somewhere else. Like you take profit out, you'll actually get adequate care, and you'll get the same care as the rich people, which they don't want us to have the same care as them. Because
you could make much better deals if it's single payer. The issue is there's so many different plans and all this shit, and it's our healthcare system is by design overly fucking complicated. Like I'd rather just cut a toe off than deal with healthcare.
Seriously,
someone asked a good question in the chat. They said, "What's better, to simply break up monopolies or implement a special monopoly tax and let them break themselves to avoid paying it?" I think so. Here's the thing, right? There are some companies that it's hard to break them up. right? Like companies like Google, companies like Microsoft, they're so huge, so inclusive. It would be difficult to break up. The question is, how do you, right? And I think that's kind of the thing. I think because, like, when companies become so big, it stifles innovation, right? Because they're able to buy out the competitor, they're able to buy out something that's better and squash it for whatever reason, right? Look at Cisco. You remember Cisco? You remember those flip camera phones that used to exist, right?
Mhm.
They were
Yeah.
super all the rage back in. Yeah, Cisco bought them out, and then they threw the project away.
Huh.
They had like 500, I don't know, 500 billion.
And if they're not
dollars.
throwing the project away, they buy them out and then they slap their name on it, and then
No,
they
they
just absorb
straight
all
up-
the profit from it, so they can keep doing that
product.
to smaller companies.
Right, they straight up literally bought it and then junked it. Like
Like
Coca-Cola.
everyone talks about the American dream. Like corporations are killing the American dream. There's
Right.
absolutely no reason for corporations to exist. And like, think about it. Like, when it comes to capitalism, how capitalism doesn't work. It doesn't work. Our fucking economy crashes. What, every 10 years? Every 10 years.
Crony
how is that working?
capitalism especially doesn't work.
It just drives me.
Yeah.
Fucking
See, I have the theory
bonkers, dude.
that capitalism is always going to lead to some form of cronyism.
Always.
Always.
100%.
100%. I mean, I'm obviously I like the market, the idea of the market. I don't like the idea of having completely unregulated capitalism, but I think it always inevitably leads to downfalls. I mean, there was cases in the 1800s during the Industrial Revolution, right? And why we need people forget these. There were no market control companies that were selling like petroleum jelly as peanut butter. Stuff, shit like that, right? Like crazy shit like that, because there were no market controls. So the idea that somehow this regulation is a bad thing, yeah, no problem, American hero. I think
I'm in a shadow ban. Sorry, I just checked my notifications. I'm in a shadow ban right now.
Oh, really? I just got out of one.
I just got out of one and I
permanently in
got
one.
thrown back into one. And it's all because of those fucking videos where I was responding to whether or not it's okay to out people like, political figures that are very anti-LGBTQ plus. And I said no.
Oh, that always end up being closeted.
Yeah, and I said no, it's not. Like, it's not okay. But like when I posted those 2 videos, they had 0 views for like the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And I was like, what the hell? So I always test it. I try to send it to Tommy to see if it'll send. And they wouldn't send. It said under review. And of course, none of my hashtags are bad. Outing might be one, but you can consider that like an outing with a family or something. Like,
right.
And they had to review it. And I'm like, okay, they're not censoring us. You're right. They're not like keeping an eye on us. You're right. Let me just go talk about how Adam Calhoun's like, I always wanted to be in a civil war because I'm 5'8", and I can hide behind, pebbles. Like he takes ducks and covers behind pebbles. It's like,
you're getting, I know John's getting some videos that are being taken down. I've got some that are getting taken down.
I haven't had a lot of videos.
I've gotten a few,
I've
just
probably
not
had 4 altogether. Like since I started, I've had 4. That I'm very careful about what and how I say things. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure a lot of the Trumpers on, I wish you could see how many people have blocked you. I'm pretty sure a lot of the Trumpers have blocked you. They stay away from my comment section. Like they don't.
I think there's an app. I think there's an app that you can do that. I don't know if that's just for Instagram.
Yeah, there are ones that straight up block me, like just.
But
like I'll go to their page and they'll have me blocked. I've never interacted with them before.
But
like I'll someone tag me in it and I'll yeah.
To answer that question, I would say when it comes to bigger companies like Facebook, Amazon's now getting into the prescription drug game. I do think we need to break up companies like that. I think they're way too big, and if we don't do something about companies like Amazon, they're going to control the world, and we have to do more regulation to protect against monopolies, because we're getting down to 4 companies in the airline space. So many companies in the just online shopping, just all these, like as far as like, or like a Walmart is just basically taking over. I think we do need to regulate the shit out of these bigger companies and tax the hell out of them at a certain point, because it's bad for, if we're going to be in a capitalist system, you have to regulate it because capitalism is not the greatest, but crony capitalism is even worse. So I would like to see I don't
like capitalism is going to lead to cronyism, crony capitalism.
Realistically, what I think about companies like Amazon, right, is they're an online distributor, right?
Right.
I don't think that they should have their own air fleet. Period.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think they shouldn't be doing delivery for their own products on their website.
They're taking over the world.
Right.
The part that pisses me off is like, what's his name? Jeff Bezos, right? The money he makes and the time that we've had this conversation, he could have cured, like, not cured, but ended hunger in America, if not the world. And just the time we've been talking, the money he has made in just the time we've been talking, there's absolutely no reason for someone to have that much money.
Speaking of Jeff Bezos, listen to this. They found that this came out today, a whistleblower. I'm going to do a video about it tomorrow, but secret Amazon report exposes the company's surveillance of labor and environmental groups. Dozens of leaked documents from Amazon's Global Security Operations Center reveals the company's reliance on Pinkerton operatives to spy on warehouse workers and the extensive monitoring of labor unions, environmental activists, and other social movements. Yeah. So basically, they're, keeping an eye on everybody and making sure they're not fucking causing a fuss or trying to start unions. I haven't read the whole thing. It just came out today, but it's pretty juicy. And they have like these anti-union fucking videos that leaked. Like it's horrible, the shit that they're doing, They're
the new Walmart. I mean, go ahead, John. I'll come back to my thought.
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, so I think the deal with Amazon is one of the biggest problems I have with massive major corporations is what Amazon did to become as successful as they were, which is they were able to use tax incentives to continue to build by claiming a loss, right? Because they're constantly working on infrastructure. They've never turned a profit as a company, right?
That's how they're able to get away with all that.
Right. So every single year, you guys don't know this, every single year they claim a loss so they can keep investing into infrastructure. They literally don't take a profit and just keep investing. And that's why they've become so big. And I mean, the way they've loopholed the tax incentives, they're fucking absurd. But I honestly think it comes with Amazon's one of those companies that needs to be broken up.
Yeah. I 100% agree they need to be broken up. Like there
just has to be a limit. Like you can't, we're like 10 years away from everything being Amazon and Facebook.
Right. I think the idea of the market economy is for interdependence on other companies, not for one company to be dependent upon itself.
Right.
It's almost like autocratic state.
And another thing Amazon does,
bailouts need to stop going to corporations, period. Like, are you going to give the American people that paid all those taxes that bailed you the fuck out? Like, you going to give us all discounts now? Are you like you're gonna donate some of your supplies when we have something like a pandemic that everybody has to lock down? Like, that makes me so mad. That makes me so mad.
That's why I'm such a big proponent of the Wall Street tax to pay for canceling student debt. It'd basically be a 0.5% tax on big stock trades, and it was Bernie's plan. It's a 0.5% on stock trades and a 0.01% on bonds, and that would pay for tuition-free college, and it would also cancel student debt. And I like that plan because one, it stops a lot of gambling on Wall Street. It makes it a little harder to do things like pump and dump schemes. And another thing is a lot of it's about messaging.
That's what they used to call me in college.
But I think a lot of things that the left is bad at is like messaging and slogans for plans. So I think it's very easy to say, listen, we've bailed out Wall Street twice. Now it's time for them to bail out America. And I think that is an easy thing for people to rally around. And that's why I like that plan so much because, we
bailed
fucking Wall Street.
Now it's their turn to bail us out.
Wall Street
I think-
gambling is like out of fucking hand. Like it is insane how these
It's
people get away
absurd.
with. You know,
I mean, honestly, I agree. They need to have a certain percentage of their stock set aside for their workers, right?
right?
Especially with Amazon. Someone's in the comments is mentioning stock buybacks. Yeah, it was illegal at
Yes,
one
yes.
point. The idea that you could
And yeah,
import your own
needs to be
stock.
gone. That's where all the tax money went. That's
Right.
why the market shot up. That wasn't like the economy just roared or anything. That was Google,
That-
Amazon, everybody buying back their own stock.
And I think
And
it's weird. It's a weird spot because if the economy goes down, that doesn't necessarily mean that these stocks are going to go down. That's the weird spot we're in right now, because
Right.
these companies. And I think it's because of stock buybacks. I think you could watch such a collapse of the U.S. economy because what these companies have done is used credit, which is cheap, to buy back their own stocks, and if their company fails, they're fucked.
They just get bailed out.
Right.
Well, they just get bailed out though.
But there's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of companies that are just completely fucked because they can't pay the money
Right.
back for the stocks. The stocks aren't worth anything, and that's
But
the biggest problem coming out right now is what happens when the economy does downturn. These stocks aren't worth anything, and in the long term, these companies can't pay back the fucking loans for the stock buybacks.
Right. Well, and that's what happened with Boeing. Boeing spent 95% of the money they got made from the tax cut. They spent 95% of it on stock buybacks, and then when the market crashed during COVID, they had to get a $25 billion bailout because they were failing. But they just spent all their money on stock buybacks. So everybody that was in the company made a fuck ton of money, and then when it came time to have to suffer through the hard times, they had to ask the government for a bunch of money. Like me or you can't do that. Like our business fails, we're just fucked.
I mean,
Yeah,
here's
they
the
made
thing that pisses
billions.
me off about all these like tax dollars. And I love when I talk to Trumpers about like, oh, I don't want my tax dollars going, blah 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 blah. I'm like, shut up, because California is where I'm from. That's where I did most of my career, and I'm not sure if y'all know, but California taxes there's a tax for a tax to pay the guy who created the tax to put the tax on the tax. Like,
Right.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It used to cost, if I did it early, $685 for me to register my truck because of a county tax, a state tax, a city tax, so on and so forth, right?
Jesus.
And up here in the Pacific Northwest, it cost me $110. And I was like, that's a deal. And people like complain about it. I'm like, watch your
In
mouth.
King County, it's a lot. I mean,
But-
it's $600. No, but it's a lot.
But like, what pisses me off is I filed 1099 miscellaneous. Now, well, a lot of you out there, I'm not sure if you know this, but someone that files a 1099 MISC are usually paying more in taxes than most people are. Like, I always have to put aside, when I'm independent contractor, I always have to put aside 30% of my income minimal. I usually even get it down with write-offs, but Trump's little tax plan screwed half the write-offs I would have. Like, there's like caps on it now.
It took away the per diem deduction. That
Like,
was one big thing.
Hey, they want questions.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, we can go ahead and do questions. So go ahead and shoot with your questions.
So, if they stuck it out this long.
This guy wants to buy you a heater. That's pretty nice. You're a nice fella, sir. That's
He always looks. We're in Washington. Of course, it's always cold. Also,
I mean, I'm in Minnesota. I don't know. They always say, like, why are you always wearing a sweater? I'm like, dude, I live in Minnesota. I don't know.
I live
It's
in
just,
Seattle.
Sidebar.
just what I wear.
How did Tyler Bluntman not realize that freaking Tommy over here is a lot bigger than him? You look like you're playing, and you look like you're in a playhouse.
Well, everybody's a lot bigger than
really
Tyler
big.
Blutman. I mean, I'm sure he knew, because everybody's a lot bigger than Tyler Blutman.
Yeah, I had assumed Tyler Blutman was short. So
I always talk about.
he's got
trying to look intimidating.
the little man syndrome. I don't know.
Did you see the video I made of him and Topher? They're like,
God.
did you hear Joe Biden said he wants to cure cancer? Haha. But it was actually Trump that said that, so I played that clip.
About the hurricanes.
Yeah.
You want to talk about
I was like-
hurricanes? Because
You want to talk about nuking a hurricane, maybe?
like, you guys do realize all the shit you're making fun of Biden for is actually Trump. So maybe you might want to reevaluate your position in politics. That's so ridiculous.
Yes, love purple. I'm happy that the snow hasn't showed up yet. Although it did once, like around, what was that, Halloween? We got some snow here. I'm in southern Minnesota, but yeah, no, it's fixing to suck a lot for a while. And yeah, I'm originally from Florida, so I'm not happy about it. But whatever. I like it up here.
That's a
I
shame.
like the cold. I like the cold. The heat's cool, but it gets sunny Southern California that everybody wants to live in. It gets boring, and everything's brown and catches on fire all the time. So like.
All right, first question. What can Biden's administration do about the 2021 tax hikes that's involved in Trump's plan? Yeah, that's right. Well, it's basically the tax cuts go away that Trump did. It was only for 4 years.
And here's my favorite part about this. A lot of people are like, did you hear this is going to happen? Almost every economist that criticized that tax plan when he proposed it were like, it's going to cost you more money in 2021. Everyone's like, no, it won't. And you're like, okay, Cletus, tell me more about how this tax plan works, please. Like,
I
we
honestly
saw this
don't know.
coming.
I honestly know
like,
nothing about this. I tax plan
you
a
own a private
million
business,
times, and
you're trying to figure out.
John, you should make a
Huh?
video so I can do edit so people will stop asking me.
What about how the tax is going to hike, those tax cuts? Who is going to pay for those tax cuts? Who
What's
is going to
that?
pay for that? Like, I want to. They're like, my question is always like, who did you think was going to pay for that? Corporations? No, corporations aren't going to pay for tax cuts. Are you kidding me? They benefit off of them. We're not.
Well, I would say the best possible scenario is Biden needs to rework the tax plan because as far as I understand, tax cuts for corporations are permanent. Like it went from 38% to 21%, which is fucking ridiculous. But it would be nice if he could get something done with executive. Huh?
28% is lower than what it was, and that's a fair number. Like,
Right, I think that's what Biden wants to take it up. I mean, honestly, like Biden actually wants to get rid of the Trump tax cuts, and I agree with him because the
100%.
benefits for the regular person are very marginal. And like a lot of people, like in the truck driving industry, which is the most popular job for men, over 3 million people, they took away the per diem production, and that really hurt people. I know guys, because I was a truck driver for a while. I know guys that went from paying nothing in taxes to like $8,000-$10,000. So I think Biden needs to get rid of the Trump tax cuts, but I think he needs to keep it low I think he needs to keep the structure where it's at for regular people, for anyone under, let's say, I don't know, 100K, and we need to put more onto, anyone over that.
The problem is is when you start taxing like corporations a lot more, that trickle down economics doesn't work, but that tighten it the fuck up because we have to pay extra money that we have plenty of is going to affect the workers below them always. I was going somewhere with this and I just lost my train of thought. There's so much to keep up with in politics right now. Like it's so
it's a fire hose.
It's
I'm from real quick. I'm from Tampa, Florida originally. Somebody was asking. That's where I grew up at.
That's why I made I've just been making videos like don't take anything. Just say unless there's concrete evidence or it's something huge, I'll cover it. But other than that, it's made up. It's bullshit. Because
I even tried showing people how to do a fact check, a media bias fact check. Like, I mean, I only showed you how to do the source. I didn't show people how to do like the author of the article or anything like that. I think I need to get on that soon.
But
Tommy and I were talking about starting a channel where we're just showing everybody how to fact check and just like getting ahead of half the stories that people are going to tag us in and just one place, one shot, get it done, shut it up, and then move on to what's actually important. Like Georgia runoffs. That's important.
Right.
Maybe John could explain how to fact check more. I'd probably be a shit teacher. Like I know how to do it, but I'm not sure how to explain how to do it. You know what I mean?
Well, the best way to do it, I mean, from what I've found is that, one, you gotta look at your source. If you Google and it doesn't, pop up right away, if you just see something on Twitter and it's just on a Twitter account, and especially if it's not a verified Twitter account, it's usually horse shit. Like the thing earlier with the law being changed at midnight. that came from a Twitter account. And when I looked it up online, exactly what was allegedly going on, nothing comes up. Usually if nothing comes up in all of Google, that's a good sign that, it's
Well,
not
I mean, like, let's
really
look at the effect
happening.
of what's being said. So that's another thing that I always approach every piece of information. How can this benefit one side? How can it like benefit the other? So, okay, this whole like you have to have your car registered to assume that you even you can afford a car to register it in Georgia, which is that right there is like a form of financial discrimination, 100%. But like, okay, so who's that going to benefit? Oh, well, I don't have a car, or like I don't need a car, or like I don't follow under what this new law is supposed to say. I'm just not going to go vote because it's not going to work for me. Like that's the outcome of that kind of information, is that people are going to be like, well, it's just to discourage people from registering
Right.
again after purging the polls. It's discouraging people from showing up and actually like getting out there and doing something. Like, what's her name? Hoffler. How do you say her name? Hoffler. She's running in the
Loeffler, Kelly Loeffler.
Loeffler, yeah. She let's talk about the things that she's done, like dumping a whole bunch of stocks when the pandemic started to arise, while telling everybody it's fine.
Right.
And then it went out of control. Now she's denying it, like the fucking virus.
Well, since we're on that, what are your thoughts on the GA runoffs? Think either of the Dins will win? I'm doubtful.
I'm doubtful if people keep pushing this misinformation around. Like everybody watching this right now. Everybody watching this right now. Like whatever the topic is. So they're saying all this new laws and you have to get registered car, blah, blah, blah. New law, Georgia, voting, date. That's all you got to type in Google. Like it's basic. Every point that's made, put all those points together in Google. If it doesn't show up in Google, I'm sorry, but like end of the day, Joe Blow and Mary Lou Rottencrotch on Twitter does not have the scoop before every one of the mainstream media. Like they don't. Like that's not how it works. Like information doesn't travel like that. Like you have authoritative sources and then you have non-authoritative sources. Like a quick Google search can teach you how to identify either one. And I'm not trying to be like a dick because not everybody has that access to education to learn these things. But still at the same time, it's like it's important that before panicking and spreading the information, check it.
I always say get at least two sources. Like I always check at least two sources before, and kind of see like what the narrative is and like what exactly is going on, get at least two sources. But as far as like either of them winning, I think Warnock will definitely beat Kelly Loeffler because Kelly Loeffler is a terrible candidate. She's elitist. She's worth $500 million. Her husband is on the board
before running for office. I don't think rich people should be able to.
Right. Well, and she basically she did insider trading. What she did should be illegal, but for some fucking reason it's not.
Oh, it's because
what's up?
People that make the laws are getting their pockets lined.
You do it as well?
What's up?
You did it as well.
Purdue? Yeah, well, he did too. But I mean, she's even more like she's just like
I didn't know she did.
She's just such an elitist snob. Like I don't think she's gonna win. But Purdue is a better politician. He's still terrible, but yeah. I think John Ossoff is not as good of a candidate as Warnock is. I mean, and I think it's going to be tough.
I think it's going to be tough. I think I give the Democrats the advantage to make up votes. I don't know if they're going to win it because I think Stacey Abrams came out and told the minority communities your vote matters, and they won Georgia for Biden. So I think she's riding high on that right now. I think that people at Democrats in Georgia are like, yeah, but I think that could then also energize the Republicans to be like, fuck, they're not going to take it. We're going to show up.
Yeah, but
best.
Well, the thing is that it's so like
it's going to come down to who contacts more people.
They're gonna show up. The Republicans are going to show up just because they know how important the Senate is, and I think.
Well, that's like Tommy made a comment the other night where he's like, I think we should get rid of the Senate, and I was like thinking about it, and I was like, well, I mean, checks, and then I thought about it. Like legit, as far as law and policy and all that gets passed right now, whoever is the leader of the Senate is basically the fucking president. Like they say whether or not it's even going to be like, look at Mitch McConnell. So like my approach with talking to people about Georgia is everybody hates Mitch McConnell. A lot of Republicans hate Mitch McConnell because he's like, I'm in power. I got the power. You don't. Even to other Republicans, he's like, I have more power than them. Like that's his whole stance. Like your state that you represent is the 6th poorest state out of 50, and you're the 7th richest senator out of 100. How does that work? Like that clearly it's self-interest. I don't know how they reelected him, but end of the day, like, do you want Mitch McConnell to run this country, or do you not want Mitch McConnell to run this country? The only way we get Mitch McConnell to stop doing the shit that he does is if we can turn the Senate blue, period. Because anything that Biden won't be able to do is going to be because Mitch McConnell like doesn't want to hear it. Doesn't matter who sponsored the bill or who put the bill together, just because the House is Democratic run. He will not.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter what it is.
Like, it came out of the Democratic House. Yeah, no, your Republican party like put it together and some Democrats signed off on it so it could get to you. I don't care. It came out of the Democratic run House. There's what 300 to 500. I don't remember the exact number. Bills sitting on his desk.
Yeah, it's like 400 something.
Like
400 bills.
Like, what is he doing?
Well, that's the thing. They want him in there for that reason. They want him in there to stop Democratic policies. Like they like what you're talking about, like him not getting anything done. That's what they want. That's what they don't want anything passed.
Yeah, but they're not getting anything done either. And I think that's the part that a lot of Trumpers aren't paying attention. You guys want this country to get better. How the fuck do you think that's going to happen as long as the House is Democratic? You guys didn't flip the House, so now maybe like appeal to the Democratic.
But that's their whole thing. They want.
I think I know what their plan is. Really.
Go ahead.
I mean, their plan's kind of simple. They know that the demographic shift is switching, so they're inevitably going to lose seats, right? Eventually, their whole plan is just as an obstructive as possible, and continue to obstruct, right? And the idea is that every other 2 years, Democrats are going to get more pissed off, and Republicans are going to get more pissed off. In the long run, they're hoping, well, we'll just make Democrats not want to show up as much. So their idea is to obstruct, to make them not show up, and to prevent the inevitable, which is the Democratic majority of the United States. And that's where we're headed right now. But unfortunately, he's just going to obstruct. He's going to obstruct when Biden takes office, and they're going to continue to do that.
But that's been their
I think their
really plan ever since Obama got in office. Their plan has been if you act like you're in the minority, you will stay in the minority. So Mitch McConnell is going to filibuster and do everything he possibly can to obstruct everything that we want to do. He won by 20 points in Kentucky. It was not even close. I'm
starting not to believe in karma, but I'm hoping that karma will just like, as like a swan song for karma, because karma is clearly not doing its job. It's just like, hey, Mitch, come here. However that turns out. I feel like Mitch do what karma's going to do.
I feel like Mitch hasn't gotten his ass kicked in a really long time. You know what I mean?
Right. The other Kentucky
Let's talk about Lindsey Graham real quick. Can we talk about him? That man was on TV crying.
I mean, I'm sure,
begging,
why not?
Pleading for people to like get him back in office. And you would think that would be his moment to be like, oh shit, I almost lost that. No, he's out here like, I can do whatever I want. Like he had it in the bag the whole time. Oh,
he kind of did though.
He makes me want to punch babies. I'm not even kidding.
Lady,
he won by 10 points. And that's the thing is that thing that I hate so much about the Democratic Party is they keep running these milquetoast centrist appeal to the greater good of the country. People don't want that. They want to know how you're going to give them health care, how you're going to make their lives better. They don't want to hear like, oh, we stand in solidarity. They don't want to hear Pete Buttigieg shit. We stand in solidarity with you for the good of the country. Yeah, they don't want to hear that.
I think I'm petty as shit. Sorry. I like y'all talked your shit for 4.5 years. Now like already Democrats have to clean up the fucking mess they made. And now we're supposed to also fix them while we're at it. No, sorry.
There's no fixing them. You just have to beat them.
Yeah.
Like you have to like dig deep in there and find the ones that you can like get back over to our side and then slowly pick them off and work your way up the fucking like dense ladder.
That's a good segue into this question. What do you feel is the best course to empathetically draw someone out from Trumpisms, QAnon, conspiracies, just plain right-wing extremism, looking for a way to not shame but create change?
Okay, first of all, you're acting under the guise and impression that empathy, because empathy is a two-way street. So like they don't understand empathy. They can't define it. Like we had this conversation last night, but they don't like they're apathetic. They're apathetic or sympathetic. They only care about things that have personally affected them, or they don't care at all. Like there's no in between. Like putting yourself in someone else's shoes and trying to understand things from their perspective is not something these people are capable of. Now I don't know what, if it's nurture, nature, what happens with how that we got there, but that is not the way I see it happening. And especially when you're dealing with somebody that has like this cult like idea. Like I was talking to Driven Progressive about this before we went live. You know, it's an ideology at this point. And when you have an ideology, the hardest thing to break in a person is their ideology. It's what they know as truth and reality. And you're basically saying you're trying to rip truth and reality away from them. Someone is going to fight that tooth and nail the whole way. And if it's fueled by something like ignorance and hate, that's almost like ironclad like ideology. So I feel like the best way to do it is to act like you're ready to hear them out, to hear their side of things, like they're going to convince you to come to their side, and then just where the holes are in their logic, just pretend like you don't understand and try to get them to explain it more in detail to you. The more they're not able to explain it in detail, the more they start to get confused themselves without you calling them wrong, liar, any of that. They're going to start questioning their own shit. And they're going to go back to their friends that they can confirm their bias with and ask those same questions. And then those people are going to have problems. And I feel like it's the same way that they were built up, was through misinformation. You have to like break them down by getting them to question their own beliefs and their own ideas, and not by doing it in a way where you're like, well, consider this instead, by saying something like, well, I don't get that. How does that work? Like, I'm on board. I just don't get it. Like, you're so much smarter than me at this. Like, very that energy. Like, that's your best way of getting through to them. And you're not going to like, don't look for that moment where you're like, yes, I did it. Cause you're probably never going to see it happen. You just got to get in there, get them thinking that way, and send them off into the world and hope that, like I keep saying, the colony collapses. Like you got to infect one and send them back to the nest. And I think the more that we approach it like that, the better off we're going to have. Like if you want to like dismantle this cult-like mentality, you have to approach it like it's a cult-like mentality. You can't just say, here are some facts. They have this safety net built in where if you don't agree with them, or if you can prove them wrong, they just look at you and say, fake news. Like you're not going to get around. There's too many safety nets holding them up. You need to cut the fucking strings of that safety net first before you start like getting in there. And the only way you can cut that is to get them to question the holes in their own logic.
I honestly think if Trump came out and said that QAnon isn't real, they would think he was part of the plot.
At this point, yeah.
You know what I mean?
At this point, yeah.
So I have a hard time thinking I'm going to change anybody in Q's mind. Or there's Trump supporters that I know that I can change their mind, right? Right-wing extremists, if they're so violently radical, there's nothing in most cases I think that I could do to change their mind. If they just have hatred thoughts, then yeah, probably.
I mean, worst case scenario, we just get K-pop stands to turn on them all at the same time. Like K-pop stands are ruthless. They will take over anything, anyone, anywhere. And apparently Cam girls are doing that now on Parler.
K-pop cabal.
Yeah,
I tend to take a little different approach than these guys. I do think, because I think both of y'all have probably had people message you and say, "Oh, you've changed my mind," or I used to be this and that, and now you've changed my mind on these values. A lot of these people, you got to think 8 million people that voted for Obama voted for Trump. And I think if you go with just that 8 million, if we can reach those people, that's every election for the rest of our lives. But what happens is these people get in these echo chambers and they just get Facebook News, they get Newsmax, they get Daily Wire, they get in a group with people that believe all this stuff, and it gets reaffirmed. And even if you find something that kind of goes against your ideals, you can go 5 minutes on the internet and find something that reaffirms what you thought before. But what I always say is most of the time it's going to happen from you. Like, I'm not going to be able to change your friend's mind as well as you could, because I'm just a guy on the internet. But it is possible, but you have to be empathetic, and you have to be willing to put in a little bit of work and do some research yourself on topics and discuss why Ben Shapiro is a quack or why Steven Crowder is a quack. Because, Steven Crowder did a 5-hour live stream the other night, and he brought up every single conspiracy theory that's been floated out there, and he has 5 million subs. So he's the biggest right-wing creator online right now.
Yeah.
But you can do it. It's possible, and we can't just, if we just give up on the 70 million people, I would say 35 million of that is probably not reachable ever whatsoever.
Ever. I would say more than that, but
it might be possible.
You're like kind of discussing what I'm talking about when I say when you start to like you're empathizing with them, like, hey, I'm here. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your side of it. Oh, but that one thing I don't understand. Can you go more into depth for me? Like I'm still not understanding. Can you simplify it for me? And you keep doing that, and then they can't figure out a way to express it. They're going to go back to their friends and be like, man, someone asked me about such and such, and I could not think of the way to, how do I put that into work? And they're the ones getting their friends to question it now because their friends trust them. Like when you come into it like, hey, I want to be there with you. I'm having trouble.
Right.
I'm already too public of a figure. You're too public of a figure. Tommy's too public of a figure. It's all these people on here that are over what I'm mirrored over here in the chat bar. Like the ones of you that don't post anything, like y'all have the opportunity to go undercover right now and start saying, hey, like I've been seeing all these arguments. Like I'm kind of feeling Trump, but like I'm not so sure. Like, can somebody out there help me? And just get in that conversation. Don't fall for it, but like get in that conversation.
Don't play yourself.
We're in George Soros, yearbook for 2020. So like we're screwed. I might be on a very far back page, but still, I'm there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you have to do it on like a friend to friend basis, and you can do it, but you can't be like, well, let me tell you how it actually works. Like you just have to like have a conversation. Debates don't ever change anyone's mind for the most part. Like you just have to I probably had 200 people that have believed in QAnon, and then they watched my Fall of the Cabal debunk series, and they're like, oh wow, this is actually all horseshit, because they only ever went surface level. Usually they're like 2, maybe 3 questions on every topic away from not having an answer for it. So, it just requires, patience, and, some people are just going to double down no matter what, but some people are reachable. And like I said, if we can reach,
I have gotten a lot of friends off of Facebook. I think so. A lot of my friends, even when we don't agree on stuff, they're like, "Oh, I never see you on Facebook anymore." I will pop on to I took Facebook off my phone.
Facebook's
off my iPad. I have to like physically go to my computer, which when I have it in my pocket, why would I go to my computer half the time? Like I have to physically go and type in facebook.com and then sign in. I don't have any of my information saved on there. Like I usually do it in an incognito window, like just so it's not running in the background or some shit like that. But everyone's like, the only time I go on there is to say, "Hey, I'm still alive. You can find me on other platforms." And everyone's like, "You're never on Facebook anymore." And it's like, why? Like I tell them like the left and the right are spreading misinformation on there. Like I'm trying to like bring the truth. And yeah, the left does spread a lot of misinformation. Half the people that like hit me up, you up, Tommy up, they're hearing misinformation from the right. And they're like, everyone, look at this, look what they're doing. We're like, you just fell for it. You just fell for it. Now I have to spend the next, I don't know, 3 hours making videos trying to convince you otherwise. Like, why did you even why did you look at the rest of that person's like content? Did you even like scan through? Yeah, you're giving them views. Who cares? But like, did you scroll through it for 2 seconds? Like when I'm moderating Tommy's lives, a lot of people like get muted, and I've seen like his other moderators that he just kind of handed out all willy-nilly, mute people that aren't really a problem. No, it's not that. It's just like people will have the Black Lives Matter made you look like hat that looks like a MAGA hat. And
the dumb Tyler Wortman stuff. Yeah.
And so what I'll do is when I'm moderating, I actually go to their profile, and if they don't have any content, I hit their follow button and I start looking at all the people they follow. When I see a whole bunch of like right-leaning people on there, I'm like, yeah, no, you're a troll. Mute, done. But
speaking of sources, what's a quick easy question? What's your 2 favorite sources for news?
AP and Reuters, Associated Press and Reuters. Most factual, least bias.
Tommy?
I mean, AP almost fucked up with the early call on Arizona.
The New York Times is pretty solid. Also, The Intercept.
I really like The Intercept. I like the Times, and I like American Prospect is very good. They cover a lot of progressive stuff. They're more left leaning, but they talk about a lot of stuff that most mainstream outlets won't. Like they actually check the establishment Democrats. So I like those a lot. For fact checks, I really like Snopes, even though people on the right always shit on Snopes, but they're actually really good, and they always have lots of sources in their fact checks.
Well, I mean, when just like those rando stories come out, like this celebrity died, first thing I do is celebrity's name, Snopes, dead. I just wait. Like PolitiFact is good too.
Like,
yeah, I like
fact checks are like,
what?
Okay. Fact checks, right? Like fact checks will be like 95% of the time will be perfect, but other times I'll go into fact checks and I'll read the article. It doesn't match up with what they rated it as. I go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, like I think, yeah, so it's important to read.
I also think people
yeah,
forget that, the people that are fact checking are supposed to be non-biased, but everybody has a bias.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing ever. No, everybody has a bias. Especially anybody that covers politics, you have a bias.
Like, I mean, mine's clear.
Right.
I don't hide mine.
When people ask me why I'm on the left, I'm like, human rights. Human rights is why I'm on the left, and everything affects human rights. Like, there is no reason one person should be better than the next person. Absolutely no reason for it. No reason. Right. And I think like I have a small advantage. I think all gay white men, all gay cis white men have an advantage that they don't realize they have, because I have the advantage of understanding what it's like to be from a marginalized community. But at the same time, I have the ability to recognize that I have a privilege afforded to me for being white, cisgender man, and within my own community, a right or a privilege that was afforded to me that I did not earn, nor do I deserve for any special reason. It's just handed to me. So the fact that I'm able to identify that myself, like, I think that human rights, like all these people denying everything, is because they don't want to take accountability. With watching the debate on racism that was on your channel with Tommy and Uncle Dan, what I kept hearing, especially when Tommy was called a racist, what pissed me off about that is all I heard was Tommy saying, hey, we're taking accountability for the past actions of our race, right? We're taking accountability for what white people have done historically throughout our country. And then you have somebody like, then you have someone calling him a racist. Whenever I've had this argument in my comments a lot. You pointing out racism is racist. No, it's not. Like, we can't get rid of racism unless we like identify it and take care of it every step of the way, right? And so the people that are saying, oh, that's racist, all I'm hearing is you don't want to take accountability for what our people have done historically. Why? Because you say you didn't do it. Okay, but you benefit off of what they did. So therefore, you do need to take accountability. If you benefit from it, you take accountability for it. And so for someone to be like, oh, identifying racism is contributing to the problem of racism, I'm like, I'm sorry, have you ever been marginalized? Have you ever been attacked for just who you are naturally? No,
you just want to you want to completely forget the structure that got here, like how you got here. Like, be like, oh no, we're all equal now. What about the other 400 years? You know what I mean?
We're not even all equal now. Like,
I know, but that's the talking point.
And it just pisses me off. And then you have someone like Tyler, or other people that are just ready to lick boots out there saying like, oh, it's not a problem. Like Christian Walker talking about going into Reno, and they were wearing their Trump shirts, and they're supposed to be like accepting and forgiving. First of all, gay people know what gay people are up against. We just got the right to marry. Just got it.
Right. And they want to take it away.
And now they're trying to, they're constantly like after it. Like, how are you going to say you're going to walk into one of the gayest, like one of the gayest cities in this country where people know what the hell is going on, and say, oh yeah, Trump is the most pro-LGBTQ plus president? Bye.
Right.
Like,
no, it you know what's funny is I because I watch a lot of right-wing media, and I do a lot of like videos on right-wing media. It's crazy to watch like how the talking points, how they go down levels. Like I'll hear Candace Owens and Tim Pool say something, and then like a day later, Tyler Bluntman and Topher Town Music are saying it, and then the next day it's all my comment section of Trump supporters. Like the way they level the talking points on every situation, like it's like they get marching orders. Like, oh, this thing about George Floyd, and then bam, bam, 2 days later, my comment section just full of this bullshit talking point about George Floyd.
It's like it's Kyle Rittenhouse.
Something
They're
like
like,
that.
oh, he killed a pedophile. I'm like, first of all, Rosenbaum was 18 when that whole situation went down. Second of all, there was no Romeo and Juliet clause, which most states have. Third, if you really want to talk about it, why do all the red states do a lot of child brides? And four, how
that's
the
still a
fuck did
thing
Kyle
people
know
don't talk
any of that
about.
information about them before he pulled that trigger?
Well, I
He
mean,
didn't.
Kyle Rittenhouse is a murderer, and he's still alive, right? So that's
Murderer.
out the
Like-
gate.
I saw a good quote. It's like, I live in a country where Colin Kaepernick is hated and Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero.
Yeah,
It's like,
you can't take a knee, but if you shoot two people pushing for racial equality, you're a hero.
you get a sponsorship deal.
This is what I'm talking about, fascism in the country. People don't believe me; they don't understand that. But that's fascism. Like, it's all the traits, the idolizing of people that die and kill in the name of your ideology. Whether or not that was their intention at the time, that's the result.
Like straight up, like when a homeboy from Patriot Prayer got shot, I was like, oh my, stop doing this shit. Like
yeah, I spoke out against it. I said it.
I spoke out against it too.
I said
Harley's like
premeditated murder before the cops even said anything. I said,
Yeah, all political violence is bad. You know what I mean?
You're not like, first of all, a lot of the people on the right, they're waiting for an excuse to retaliate, even though they usually make the first move.
They fucking jerk off to it.
Yeah, you can't make a move back on them because then they have a reason to retaliate. It's like, no, you started shit, you got shit, and whatever. Like, that's what they're looking for. Don't give it to them. And Harley, like, Tommy knows. Harley, like, gets on there and he's like, oh, you guys are both wrong because of this, that, and the other thing. I'm not saying don't defend yourself. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, don't feed into the violence they want you to feed into. If you absolutely have to, then yeah, like clap back, like swing back. I'm very, people know my brand. I'm not the one to be like, God, just sit there and take it. But like,
it just
it's so annoying, this like situation we're in. Not to mention, by the way, guys, like anybody watching, half the dudes that are running their mouth, like those were my friends back home. Like those guys are, oh, I want this and I want that. And I've heard a lot of my friends back home that are like the few red people in Southern California, Orange County, that like are like, oh yeah, the Civil War is gonna break out, and I'm like, okay, Michael, calm down. I whooped your ass at that party like 3 weeks ago, or like 3 years ago because you got a little too drunk and wanted to talk shit. Like these people are, most of them are all tough, like, and it really just pissed me off because they're feeding the ones that are dangerous. They're hyping up the ones that are dangerous. The ones that are dangerous think they have the numbers and they don't. And so they're going to have to make big moves to make a big point.
If you don't think they're just waiting for a chance, watch All Gas No Brakes video on the Proud Boys rally. Just watch how they interact with people. If you don't think they're not just waiting for a chance,
but watch alt-right documentary on Netflix. That'll show you all.
Right?
Exactly
no, I've seen that one. Yeah, that was good. What do you think about Biden's cabinet picks so far? Short answer: I'm not a big fan. What was the guy, Anthony Blankenship? That he put John Kerry on climate, which I'm not a big fan of, and he got Anthony Blankenship. I'm not too upset with his chief of staff. He was okay, but it's a lot of the same names from the Obama Clinton era, and I'd like to see some fresh faces and some more progressive faces, but it is what it is, but I kind of knew this was going to happen. I knew he was going to fill his cabinet with, I just hope he doesn't do the thing where he puts a bunch of Republicans in there or something. What's up?
I'm trying to remember someone's name. Let me see.
I didn't like the short list that much. That's pretty much all I have to say on that.
Blinken.
Blankenship, yeah.
Yeah, Blinken, like, his background, daddy's got billions of dollars. I don't trust that. I don't like that.
Well, he was a big
that much money.
He was a big proponent of the Iraq War, all that shit.
He was in the room when Obama took out Bin Laden.
The room where it happened.
Yeah, he was in the Situation Room when that happened. Like, he's in the back.
What's his name?
Anthony
Blankenship.
Antony, Antony, Blinken, Blinken.
Is it Blinken? Yeah. Okay.
He sounds like a freaking reindeer, honestly, but whatever. And then, like, I mean, it's
Tony Blinken. Yeah, it's Tony Blinken. That's what it is. Yeah.
It's a diversity push into a lot of positions that are going to be historically like made, although it has to go through the Senate. And you know that the Republicans, if they get majority in the Senate, they're going to give so much shit. Like, get Betsy DeVos out of there now. Like, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Like, clearly education is an issue in this country. She's the last person that needs to be in there. But, you know, like, they're pushing how, like, Thomas Greenfield is black and Mayorkas is Cuban. And, like, when, like, I want to see that diversity. I really want to see that diversity. But the conversation seems to be more around how they're diverse and not how they're actually, like,
well, that's
qualified,
what
but they are
that's
qualified.
what the Democratic establishment does. They love to say, "Oh, the first, you know, the first Puerto Rican Secretary of State." It's like, well, yeah, but are they a warmonger or, you know?
Yeah, like what do they stand behind? Like that? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Christian Walker is a gay man, a gay black man.
Right.
He's a double minority.
Right.
He doesn't represent like
And
anybody on the side you would think he does.
minority.
And his dad fucked over my football team for like 10 years. So
So there's
fuck
that.
the Walkers.
Well, his dad also fucked over his mom for a couple years too. But whatever.
Well, yeah, you know. If he would have ran for 2,000 yards, I could have forgave that, but he fucking didn't. So fuck him.
Steeler Nation anyway. Screw it.
Yeah. Skull Vikings, we suck, but you know, whatever.
Vikings
We lost
in
to
the
Dallas.
quality.
Fucking can't believe that shit.
I'll quote the
Well, I was
stupid
hoping
thing
us
here.
like
God damn
I
it.
was hoping to lose every game so we could pick up Trevor Lawrence.
Okay,
You guys see any good
before
questions?
talking, you're gonna see that live count go down real quick. You can talk a whole bunch of lefties about football. They're gonna be like, "I'm out."
I'm done. Lefties like football.
Most of them are nerds.
Huh.
That's what I call my followers.
I like.
Nerds. What's up, nerds?
I don't have a name. I don't have a name for my followers.
What
All
should
nerds.
mine be?
I like you know, Danny Gonzalez is the comedian kid. His name's Danny, you know, because like usually they call him like, you know, like Jake Paul calls his fans Jake Paulers. Well, his name's Danny Gonzalez. He just called his fans Greg. He's like, "What's up, Greg?" Like
Oh,
that's
that's
how you.
good. I think
yeah,
that
I thought
Tommy
that
should
was
call
pretty
his
original.
fans the thirst trap because Tommy's followers are thirsty as shit. Like when I'm moderating, I'm every other line out of me is keep it in your pants, lady. You know,
That's
like,
funny.
is he single? I told him he needs to make a poster behind him that says 30, single, not looking. I work in construction. My major was this. Because they all ask the same 6'3". Like they all ask the same question. And it's like every few seconds I'm like,
thirsty bitches. What's up, you thirsty bitches?
there you go. Thirsty bitches. That's it. Well, I gotta be careful with feminists.
You know, hey, whatever. I don't.
As far as his pitch,
we need some
okay,
more
so
questions, guys.
One thing I want to talk about Secretary of Labor.
Yeah, Bernie, please.
Bernie. And so here's the thing about Bernie. When he was pressed and asked on it, he did not outright deny it. He dodged around the question and then said he would if he had some footing there. So like,
Right.
It wasn't a no, I'm not gonna do that. You know, it wasn't any of that. It was like, oh well, no, if I have a policy.
You guys want to see something funny? This is what Fox News put together who they thought the cabinet was going to be.
The doodles. So was it the duties? But I'm going to say the doodles. The doodles are going to be here.
This is who Fox News thought they were going to put in the cabinet. Ilhan Omar,
Warren would be great.
Rashida Tlaib, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders as defense secretary, and Andrew Yang as transportation secretary. Like, what fucking dream world would this ever happen?
Bernie would clearly go in labor.
Karl Marx in there, right? Just throw him out there for fun.
Karl Marx is chief of staff. Oh. I saw that. I was like, dude. Oh, well, hold on. There's one other thing I wanted to.
There was a article that I sent to Tommy recently. It was on. Was it Politico, Tommy? Remember?
Politico or AP?
Yeah, was it Politico or was it Associated Press?
The one you sent to me last night?
Yeah, the one that has
What
like
you sent to me last night?
Yeah.
There was the one from the LA Times.
Yeah, I didn't send you anything from LA Times. No. What I was sending you last night was Okay, so we were like talking last night. You know how everyone brings up the 1994 crime bill? I'm like, yeah, let's talk about what the Republicans wanted to put in the 1994 crime bill that didn't
Right.
make it. And you want to talk about some shit, and like everybody out there that like has to deal with that 1994 crime bill, look up the 1995 Take Back the Streets bill. Look that up. Yeah, and then talk to me about a crime bill. The crime bill is bad. Like it's been admitted, it's understood
Right.
that it's bad, but like Republicans are acting like, oh, look at how horrible the Democrats are. That's another like topic that I just want to touch on real quick. When people are like, oh, Trump is the most LGBTQ plus president, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, look at
The dumbest shit I ever heard.
look at Clinton. He signed into Act DOMA. Every Republican backed that up. Like just because somebody was in charge at the time doesn't mean the Republicans weren't behind it. Like we haven't always been this divisive. Democrats and Republicans have acted together on a lot of bullshit. That's why I don't like either. That's why I'm not a Democrat. That's why I'm a leftist.
They were best friends until the 90s. I mean, Jesus.
Right.
And then everyone's like, hey, you want our vote?
Like you gotta like put in like, cause like what they always omit is like the historical context of what was happening in our country and what was politically popular at the time. You know, and they always forget that when they talk about the crime bill or really any legislation. But listen to this guy on. I thought this was pretty hilarious. Listen to this guy on Rush Limbaugh. He's
the crier.
By voting for these people because they're not them, and we just can't do it anymore. We're tired of being stabbed in the back, Rush. It's better to have an enemy that's in front of you than a friend that's behind you that's just going to stab you. They do it every time. We have a Republican-controlled state, and they won't do an audit of the vote. They won't. They just basically told every Georgian that they don't care. We were in Washington on Saturday. Me and my 33-year-old son, we saw more people than we've ever seen in our lifetime, ever. And we're season ticket holders for the Ravens, for God's sakes. I've been in crowds of 80,000 people. I've been to Steelers games, for goodness sakes. I have never seen so many people, but were there any Republicans there? No. None. None.
But wait. What? There were no What was this thing that you went to?
A week ago Saturday in Washington, D.C., the mega rally. There must have been hundreds of thousands.
Okay, it's a MAGA rally, and you mean no elected Republicans? Is that what you mean?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Our party leadership, quote unquote, if this were a Democrat rally,
Wait
they would
for
all
it.
be there. They were there for the anti-Tea Party movement, walking hand in hand up the steps.
Yep.
No one stands for us, Rush. Only you and Donald Trump. God forbid. What do we have left?
We have you
I
crying. That's what we have.
I am not a revolutionary, Rush, but I will die for my president.
My God.
That is the definition
This
of
man
nationalism.
has given more to this country than anybody, and he has no need to. None.
He's played more golf
He's a
than anybody.
billionaire.
I like Bernie, but if you think I'm taking a bullet for him, you're fucking nuts.
Yeah, sorry. Bye. I'm gonna miss you, dude.
That man said he was ready to die for Donald Trump.
Oh my God.
Well, if you hang out with him long enough, you'll get COVID-19, and maybe you can just go do that.
Look, I don't think he's, I just want to give him this advice. If he doesn't like it, leave. Well,
you're already a nationalist. You'll die for your president. So, like, you wouldn't mind leaving a country you don't like.
Take that river of tears on up to Canada.
By the way, everybody, that's the secret to my shiny hair is I wash it in that guy's tears. So
you can get them online for $4.99.
Yeah, I mean, they're all hiding right now, so it's like little scares. If anybody has any conservative tears they want to send me, like I have a brand that I need to keep up with.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You think that I'm having a shitty day, right? Because Rush Limbaugh's about to die and Trump's not president anymore.
Yeah, no, his world's falling apart.
Exactly. Who else is he going
to? Like, I never thought I would actually be
going to listen to. Charlie Kirk's not the same level of bigotry that Rush Limbaugh is. I don't know how we will live my.
He'll have to go like Jack Phobic or something real deep if he doesn't go to jail or like Nick Fuentes or something.
Y'all heard about this news about Scotland? Was it Scotland and Trump's?
They send him a subpoena,
and if he doesn't respond to it, they're just going to seize his property, and there's nothing he can do about it.
That would be great, dude. They've given him hell for a long time. They don't play over there with that shit.
Like, oh,
when it comes to Trump.
he's gonna get raked across the coals. Everyone's like worried about Trump selling off information. He can't leave the country like that. Once you've been president, you can't just up and leave. Like, that's not how it works. Also, like, I've said this, I think, a few times on my own channel. Like, as a sitting president, I'm pretty sure, somebody like fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure that they can declassify any information because they are the president, so they can say that anything they say can declassify anything, really. But
I don't think he has much to say.
Once they're out, they can't do that. That would be
easy. I don't.
So.
But yeah, I think I just love looking through, like, I'll go through like all the right wing shit on Twitter and just the stuff you find, like, the people crying on Rush Limbaugh and these Trump lawyers still defending this shit to the death. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, these people are like adult humans with, and they're just they're just corrupting and destroying the country for a fucking paycheck, and it drives me nuts. I fucking hate grifters, man. People like Candace Owens just really fucking drive me nuts.
Oh my god,
especially Tim Pool. Tim Pool is the worst.
Well, everyone has this like whole Candace Owens is disowned by the black community. She disowned herself. Like, accountability is not a strong. Accountability and empathy are like the two things, the kryptonites to the Republican Party. The Republican Party is on its way out, by the way. Like, I didn't say that earlier. I meant to, but like the Republican Party is crumbling. It's going to be lefties versus Democrats eventually. That's what it's going to be. Like,
the Democratic establishment is going to become the Republican Party, and then the progressives are going to become the Democratic Party. Hopefully. That's a perfect world. But, the Republicans are just becoming the party of QAnon.
Okay,
they're becoming a conspiracy party.
Hero here, because they're like, oh, the salty tears. Actually, the tears are acidic, and as acid lays down your cuticle, which creates a shine.
All right, I'm gonna go grab some. I gotta go grab some dinner.
Yeah,
I was about to say, yeah. All right, guys. Well, make sure you like the stream on the way out. If you guys if you guys like these gentlemen that joined us tonight, their link to their is in the description. Really appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Make sure you subscribe, do all that fancy stuff. And yeah, see you later. Peace out.